The court is now back in session. We would like to now hand over to legal lawyers for the civil parties to continue putting questions to the civil party. You may proceed. Counsel Pek-ang. Good morning, Mr. President and Your Honors again, and good morning to everyone, and very good morning to you, Mr. Saw-Saran. I am a national legal lawyer for the civil parties. For the remainder of this questioning time for the civil parties, we only have 10 minutes to put question to you, so please can you be brief when responding to our questions. Now I would like to have a follow-up question concerning the political study sessions. Apart from what you responded to Counsel Van Peu, did you ever attend any other political study sessions chaired by senior leaders or leaders of the Khmer Rouge? Response. Apart from the political study sessions chaired by Comrade Pum, I also had the opportunities to attend study sessions, political study sessions at Borei Kaila. The sessions lectured by Uncle Nuon Chia and Uncle Khieu Samphan. Question. How many people attended those sessions or the session, and what was being lectured by these two uncles? Response. There were a lot of participants. I can say there could have been about 500 to 600 participants, and we were joined by participants from K offices, K1 through K30. All offices of these K offices, people from these K offices came to attend the session, and people were from Ministry of Energy, Land Transport, Water Transport, Railway Station, Public Works, Ministry of Industry also was in attending the session. Question. Were some of the participants from provinces rather than from Phnom Penh? Response. At that time, people were also from some provinces. I just don't recall them, but they must be senior cadres to attend such session, except me, who was holding a lower rank and allowed to attend such session. That's what my observation is. Question. Can you also tell the chamber, please, the content of the session and who said what? Response. Uncle Nuon Chia chaired the session in the morning. In the afternoon, Uncle Kilsampon was lecturing. It took about 3 to 4 days to conclude the session, and that includes also the live view exchange session. And we were lectured on the victory of the party. They talked deeply the insight about the insight of the victory and the party. But before I mention about this, allow me to also tell the chamber regarding what would be behind this uniform, the 3-pocket shirt and pants and a Khmer scarf were seen placing on the shoulder of each participant. They were believed to be the leaders of the party who would be seen wearing such outfits. And I also wish to tell the chamber that during the sessions we were referred to some documents, and there were slogans hanging on the walls of the session. For example, there was a slogan which say long live the glorious victory of the party, and there was no picture of Karl Marx or Lenin in the room yet. Question: you mentioned about tell the chamber about the live view exchange session. What were you supposed to do in such session? And please be brief. Response: before responding to this, allow me to share with you some of the slogans, because they are very important. I know time is very important for you, but it's also important for me, because I don't want to miss this opportunity to tell with you what I saw in the slogans. On the right hand side, I would see that CIA, American CIA, and their lackey had to be smashed, and it was written in big letters, easily visible. And then we also saw another piece of slogan which reads KGB, CIA, and the enemy borrowing from within had to be smashed. And before Uncle Nunjia was taking the floor, everyone had to rise to pay respect to the party's flag, and by that we had to sing a song which includes very important wordings. And if the President allows me, I would also tell something about the meaning of such thing. Before the leaders of the party came, we had to rise and sing a song, this regular song, and I believe that it is good that I can tell the younger generations why in the logo there would be a sickle and the grains of rice. We say in the song that we had to free ourselves from poverty, and that we had to be devoted to save our country, and we had to get rid of the old regime and be committed to working to find the future for our country. And I think we had to sing this time and again before leaders would be coming into the room, and it was part of the practice. And our leaders only were seen in a very modest vehicle, and they would not be served a drink. They had to bring in their own bottle of water. And then they would start by addressing the participants and thank everyone for attending the session, and proceeded to say something about the victory of the CPK and the old and new great victories. Great old victory was referring to the 17th of April 1975, when we defeated when we won the victory over the American imperialists. And then we also had another great victory that we could achieve. This victory referred to building dams, canals, the rice paddy field with these dikes that represent the square, or like the checked board. And we had to commit to eliminate or smash the internal enemy burrowing from within. But these enemies no longer could hide. They were identified and revealed by our party. Council Pek Ong, thank you, Mr. Silver Party. Unfortunately, I had no more time to put questions to you, and I thank you very much indeed for this. I would like now to cede the floor over to my two co-prosecutors, and I thank you, Mr. President, and your honors for the opportunity. The President, thank you. Now, international or the co-prosecutors, you may now proceed.
Mr. President, Your Honours, may it please you. Mr. Sorsorin, good morning. My name is Keith Rayner, and I am one of the prosecutors in this case. I'm going to be asking you questions about some specific topics. Those topics are the execution of Lon Nol soldiers, the content of speeches given by Khieu Samphan and Nguyen Chia at the political education sessions that you have already started to talk about, deaths at security centres, and if I have time, instructions given to you about what you should say to foreign delegations when they visited. I am anxious that you are given the opportunity to give relevant evidence to this court. I am also anxious that you should understand that the topics I've given to you are the main relevant issues in your evidence. I ask you, therefore, to concentrate on my questions, and will you please forgive me now if I interrupt you at times. I don't do that, obviously, to disrespect you. I would do it to help you explain your evidence to this court. Can we start, please, with what Q Sampon said in the political education study sessions that took place at Borai Kaila? You covered this in your DC CAM statement. That is at Khmer page 00482822, French 007 46494, and English 0073 9552 through 53. And you said that Q Sampon discussed these themes. Firstly, the need to stand on revolutionary lines and follow the poor peasant model. Secondly, the need to totally eliminate stances of private property. Thirdly, to totally smash and uproot capitalists, feudalists, landowners, and other exploiting classes in democratic Cambodia. And fourthly, to purge the Vietnamese. My first question is, can you elaborate on the words spoken by Q Sampon when he was telling the assembled people at the meeting to totally smash and uproot capitalists?
Response. Thank you, Mr. Kisrina, for putting this question. I would like to respond to your first question regarding the executions of the Lon Nol soldiers.
Well, will you forgive me, Mr. Sorcerin? That is a separate topic. I will definitely be covering it, and I have some very important questions to ask you about that. But please, I wonder if you could respect me, please, and answer the question that I've given you, which is, can you elaborate on what was said by Q Sampon at the political education meetings when he spoke about totally smashing and uprooting capitalists. Thank you very much.
Response. The messages these two uncles lectured during the session, and as what I already stated before people from DC camp, the document that is now being used before this chamber, I wish to make a request to the international communities and the royal government of Cambodia when I say something in this, because this may impact on my living condition, on my personal security. So I may wish to pause here unless there is any intervention from the international communities, including the royal government of Cambodia, who were the signatories to this establishment of the court. And when my personal risk is secured, then I would proceed to respond to your questions. And indeed, I will be willing to offer my gift to this court so that the core of the world will never end up having such a disaster again, like what Cambodia has suffered due to the bombings, and when the international world, the outside world, were turning their blind eye to what happened in the country.
I'm interrupting again, but I need to clarify some issues. Mr. Sorcerin, are you saying that because of events or circumstances that have happened leading up to today, that you are uncomfortable for yourself and your family in giving evidence before this trial chamber?
Response. It is correct. I am fearful and I am afraid my personal security would be at great risk. Mr. Hang Ngao, who once talked a lot about the Khmer Rouge, and you knew what happened to him, and you could also see what happened to the millions of people who died, and it is because of the study sessions, and I knew that my security, personal security, is on the line. It's 70% of my safety is at risk already when I had provided something to the court. But I think it is now up to the chamber who can assure that I will be safe. And by knowing that for the exchange, I would be grateful by helping the chamber with providing more useful information. Again, don't get me wrong, I am not exploiting the chamber for my own benefit. I have great detail to tell the court and Mr. Ban Ki-moon himself, and that I would not wish the world to end up like Cambodia, and I, with this, would like the chamber to help me first.
I'm going to try and help you as best I can with some questions. I don't want any details, but are you saying that anybody has said things to you hinted at things to you, or have other events, specific events happened that have caused you to fear? Or is this fear just a general fear about coming to this court?
Response. No man, no person has caused the fear, but it is the general fear and how I am feeling now. And that happens in Cambodia. Frankly speaking, the Khmer Rouge are not happy that their leaders are on trial. If they knew that this would be the end of the day, then they would never surrender or reintegrate into the Cambodian troop. And indeed, my testimony, if given before this chamber, would be revealed to the outside world, and my personal information and family background would be identified. And believe me, everyone would like to live a meaningful life, and I would want the international community, including this hybrid tribunal, to help me, because I am willing to help it. Otherwise, I would like to stop now. And again, if the chamber can assist me regarding my security, and I can tell the world and the court every detail, because I still remember at least 70% of what happened in the past. I remember even the exact wordings uncles Nuon Chia, Khieu Samphan were saying at that time, because they were leaders at that time, but I was a kind of tool being used exclusively by the party at that time.
I'm interrupting again because I'm still trying to help you. Your statement to DC Cam is on the case file in this case. And that means that all of the judges in front of you have had the opportunity to read your statement before we came into court today, as indeed have everyone else with access to this file. I am under a duty as a prosecutor to seek to elicit relevant evidence from you. I can make application under the court rules for your statement effectively to be regarded by the court because you're a witness in fear. Can I ask you this?
The President, Counsel for Mr. Khieu Samphan, you on your feet, you may now proceed. Counsel Kung Som-on. Thank you, Mr. President, and Your Honors. I am on my feet to have some observation regarding the request by the civil party, and protective measure has already been requested. I believe that a civil party is a party to the proceedings. He is not a witness who is obliged by the chamber to give testimony before the chamber. And for civil party, there is no obligation that the civil party will have to testify. And for this, the chamber would need to rule whether civil party should continue or should there be any measures being taken. The President, co-prosecutor, you may proceed. The President, co-prosecutor, could you please wait, and counsel for Mr. Nuon Chea, you may have the floor first. Counsel Son Arun. Thank you, Mr. President and Your Honors. I am Son Arun. I fully concur with the observation made by counsel for Mr. Kyew Sompon. It is our submission that if the civil party wishes not to give testimony, then the position by counsel for Kyew Sompon is well shared by us. The President, co-prosecutor, you may now proceed.
Tell me if I've got this wrong. And can you answer these questions, please, yes or no? If you are given security assurances, are you willing to give evidence to this court?
Response. Yes.
Can I read you an extract from your interview, and can I tell you it's not to do with the facts of the case? And please, if you don't want to answer it, then think, but I'm trying to help you. English page 00739-567. Khmer 0048-2836. French 0074-6507. And this is what you said. Due to my conscience as a human being, I should tell you what I have heard and seen. But it does not mean I hate Kyew Sompon and Nuon Chea, so I said badly about them. I would like to swear that all my words are true. I am a Buddhist adherent, so I am not exaggerated. These were their speeches. I only wish to tell the truth to the Khmer Rouge Tribunal, whether they made mistakes or not. But I do not exaggerate. I just describe what I experienced in the regime. Now, my question for you is this, do you, if given certain assurances, do you only wish to tell the truth to this Khmer Rouge Tribunal?
Response. Yes, I do.
Now, if we're talking about, which I think you are, potential protective measures or security that can be given to you and your family in order that this trial can hear your evidence, do I have it right that you would not wish to be asked questions about the details of all those matters with everybody in this courtroom listening and everybody in the public gallery listening.
Response. I think I made my request clear that without proper security given to me, my testimony session should end now. I think that's all I can do to assist this chamber. The President, lead co-lawyers, I believe that you should have done that earlier on along with the co-prosecutors, because we would like this to be in uniform. For example, we have been doing these hearings for several months already, and we should be mindful of how we could be on the feet to respond or to submit an application. And but today the chamber may allow you to be heard on this matter, but please do not do that again. If you would like to have any objection or observation, please do that when along with the co-prosecutor. Counsel Simulafort, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am well aware of the fact that I am rising rather belatedly, but I do so because I think it is important for this civil party. I am understanding for the first time what he is saying, and I understand his concerns. May I request the chamber very respectfully that the proceedings be suspended briefly so that we may explain to this gentleman what is happening here, what are his rights and obligations, and also to tell him what could happen regarding the fears that he has expressed today. It would be unfortunate to deprive ourselves of the testimony of Mr. Sassorin. As my learned friend of the Kyo Sampan team has stated, it's a civil party, and perhaps we should be allowed to speak to him briefly by the chamber's leave.
The President counsel for Mr. Nunchia, Mr. Victor Koppe, you may now proceed.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you. Your intervention toward the civil parties was mine, so I have nothing to add.
The President, Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any observation? If you have any additional observation, I suggest that you should have made it earlier. You should not ask any question with this witness concerning the facts to his knowledge. You may intervene in relation to the request by this witness who is requesting that the chamber submit the request to the government as well as the United Nations to secure his personal security. This is also provided partly in the internal rule and various instruments of the Tribunal. And if you have any matters, you should address this matter alongside with your colleagues from the civil party lead co-lawyer, because the lead co-lawyer was suggesting that the civil party need to be consulted with the lawyer before he can testify further, because he needs to understand the proceedings so that his testimony is contributing to ascertaining the truth. So if you have any observation, you are only confined to this matter so that the chamber will make a ruling accordingly. And the chamber will also consider granting some time for the civil party to consult with the state civil party. So I hand over to the prosecutor then.
Mr. President, I'm very grateful for that, and I'm not going to go outside what you've just said. I think you probably have these provisions already in mind, but Mr. President, Rule 29, Sub-Rule 4E allows for evidence to be given in closed session when the court is considering protective measures. In other words, Mr. Sorcerin could speak to you in closed session. And also Rule 79(6) gives further guidance on closed sessions, and that was what I was going to have been suggesting. Thank you, Mr. President.
The President, thank you. National lawyer for Mr. Kilsampon, you may proceed. Counsel Kongsamon. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to clarify on the point raised by the international lawyer for the civil party, who told the court that Mr. Sorcerin just mentioned for the first time of his personal security in relation to his testimony before the chamber. As a matter of fact, Mr. Sorcerin has written a letter so far in Khmer ERN 00 482841, document number D 230/1.1.874D. And this particular document was submitted to the Office of Co-Prosecutor dated 6th of May 2009, undersigned by Mr. Sorcerin. The substance of this letter was about his concern for his personal safety and security. The point that the court should take into consideration concerning this letter was that he, at that time, wanted to be the witness rather than the civil party. For this reason, I think that there could have been a confusion or probably misunderstanding of the proceedings that I did not realize. Of course, it was the issue with Mr. Sorceran himself. But I simply wish to inform the chamber to examine this case concerning his concern for his own personal security and safety. This matter was raised by Mr. Sorceran himself, and we do not know whether or not it is evident that his personal security was at risk. The President, thank you, Council, for providing information to the Chamber. Mr. Sorceran, before coming to testify before the Chamber, were you informed of any protective measures that the victim support section normally notified the witnesses or civil parties before they come to testify? Did they check with you whether or not you require any protective measure? Have you ever been contacted by the officials from the witness or support section and been advised of the available protective measure at the Khmer Rouge Tribunal? Response. May it please the court, in the past, the official from the court did advise me on the availability of protective measure if I fear of any personal security or safety. So for example, my voice may be distorted, or my pictures may be distorted to the effect that my voice cannot be recognized by others. But I told the official at that time that I do not like my voice to be concealed. Also, I don't want it to be changed. I want to talk openly and frankly with the court. I don't want to speak from nowhere where people cannot recognize me. The President. Protective measure is completely different from what you have just described. You are not supposed to hide from somewhere and then testify from an unknown place. And protective measure may be imposed by the chamber once the chamber considered appropriate, and these will be in line with the international practice as well as in the applicable rules as pointed out by the prosecutor just now in the Khmer Rouge Tribunal, Rule 29.4e, as mentioned by the prosecutor, is the available means to provide you protective measures. So once again, this protective measure does not require the United Nations or the royal government of Cambodia to take any necessary measure to protect your security, but these protective measures allows the chamber to use the means available to the tribunal to protect you in relation to the various rules available. I would like to hand over to fellow judges on the bench if you have any question to put to this civil party also, so that we can have the basis for our ruling. If not, the chamber wishes to advise parties and members of the public that the chamber cannot proceed for now, since the civil party has already made it clear that he fears of his personal security So he is requesting protective measure for himself. So the chamber will take this into consideration, and we will consider this matter in conjunction with the request by the lead co-lawyer for the civil parties and observation by other parties. The chamber will retire for deliberation on this matter. So the chamber will adjourn for this morning so that we will have time to deliberate on this matter, and the chamber will resume at 1:30 this afternoon. Court officer is instructed now to facilitate the place for the civil party to rest during the break and have him back in this courtroom before 1:30 this afternoon. Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed, but I just advise you just now that if you had any matter, you should raise it all at once. And now, since we have already decided on this matter, you are rising up. I don't know if you have any different matters to raise. Because we have conducted a hearing several years already, and everyone should be familiar with the proceedings. I don't expect that such an thing happens. But this is the last chance for you if you have any observation, because we don't want any disruption to the proceeding.
Mr. President, thank you for that guidance. It was when you used the phrase deliberating upon matters. Mr. President, can I make it clear, and I'm saying this now so that I'm not criticised this afternoon for not raising it, that the prosecution will be making an application, potentially this afternoon, for Mr. Sorcerin to give his evidence in closed session. Thank you.
The President. Of course, that point you raised already, and the chamber will take that into consideration. As I said, we will look into Rule 29.4e so as it is appropriate in this case. Now, the defense lawyer for Mr. Kyew Sampon, you may proceed.
Oui, bonjour.
Yes, good morning, and thank you, Mr. President. I want to go back to the remark by the co-prosecutor, because it is important for us to know whether all the parties will be heard with regard to the civil parties, the co-lawyers' request that the civil party testify in closed session. I think it is important, before you take your decision, that the various parties meet with their clients to fine-tune their position to make sure that everyone is agreed on that matter. We want to be sure that we are all on the same wavelength and that we will be allowed to know what the official position of the civil party before the co-prosecutor makes his application, because we would like to be heard regarding that formal request as to what the position of the civil parties is.
The President, thank you. Security guards are instructed to bring Mr. Kyew Sampon to the holding cell downstairs and have him back in this courtroom before 1:30 this afternoon. The court is adjourned.